How not to do a startup. Hi, my name is John Willis. I'm also known as Botchgaloop on Twitter and just about everywhere else online. My quick bio is I've been in IT for 35 years, mostly of what I call IT operations. I've personally founded 4 startups over the years, and I've been through 3 Series A rounds and 2 Series B rounds with different companies. I've also been through 2 IPOs. I've actually worked directly for a billionaire, and let me tell you, that's a trip. I highly recommend it for any entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur, and it's not all good if you understand my drift. Kind of all total, I've worked for over 15 startups over 35 years. Now here's the thing, I'm not bragging. To most of my family and even my wife, God bless her, I've been a failure. Take the time I've lost my business and I had to move into the basement with me and my family in the basement of my brother-in-law's house. The point I'm trying to make here is that from Edward Deming to Taiichi Ohno to Eric Ries's Lean Startup, the lesson that we learn is failure is the greatest gift the entrepreneurial gods can give us. For example, working my way out of my brother-in-law's basement not only taught me how to learn from failure, how to make corrections, it told me and taught me that my family and myself, that even in the harshest scenario, the harshest form of failure, failure was not going to defeat me and my family. In the last 5 years, I've focused very heavily on IT startups that have operational focus, IT operations. My last 3 startups are Canonical, the guys who make Ubuntu, OpsCode, the guys who make Chef, and now I'm working with a company called Instratus, where we focus on cloud management and DevOps. A good friend of mine, about 3, maybe 4 years ago, gave me 4 Steps to Epiphany, and I didn't have time to read it. And every time I'd run into him, he'd say, "Well, have you read the book?" And I'd say, "No, I haven't had a chance." And finally, at one point, he kind of stood me up and said, "I need you to read that book because Stephen Blank talks about customer development. He's talking about what you do and what." And I read it, and I was a huge fan. Interestingly enough, I found Eric Ries and his Lessons Learned blog through a different set of circumstances. I've been involved in the DevOps movement. It's almost 3 years old now. I'm considered one of the early founders. In fact, I helped bring the first original DevOps conference to Mountain View. Early on, I had run a DevOps Cafe podcast series, and one of the companies that we looked at as kind of a poster child was a company called Wealthfront. They were formerly called Kaching. And I was amazed about their ability and their agility to manage flow. The kind of the aha to Kaching is what we talk. How do you get from whiteboard to making money? And every time I'd ask, like, where did you come up with that idea? Where did you come up with that idea? They'd keep referencing Eric Ries's Lessons Learned blog. And I come to find out later, Eric was actually an advisor for this company. The point I want to make in this presentation is there's some common themes, old and new, that will help us understand how to do startups correctly. It starts with Edward Deming's 14 Principles. It borrows from Taiichi Ohno's 7 Deadly Sins of Waste. I think it also includes Elliot Goldratt's Theory of Constraints. Of course, Eric Ries's Lean Startup and Lean Startup Movement. I'd like to say let's put the S back in computer science, or some might say let's put the S in entrepreneurial management. I'm going to parallel the aforementioned famous management thought leaders in this presentation along with my experience and the experience I've had with using some of these ideas and principles and to teach you how not to do a startup. Thank you very much for listening, and I would be honored to speak at the Lean Startup Conference. Thank you very much.